All right. Hi, how are we doing today?
Hey, good. How are
Great. How are
you?
you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. So we're talking about the film Little Bites. And right away, let's talk about the decision to make it a period piece. Where did that come from?
Well, look, there's a few reasons. One, I mean, just aesthetically, like I'm a child of the 70s, so I have such fond memories of that time. Um, it also conveniently allows you to avoid technology in movies, which is like great, because it's like just pick up the cell phone, like so you can kind of get rid of that shit. Um, but it's funny, I realized, I think after we were completely done with the movie, that I think if I did the math, I would have been about the same age as the young girl in 1979, which is where in my mind, the movie takes place. So I think that sort of there was something mystical happening for making me, make a movie about a kid in the 70s, and I would have been that. So I don't know. It just looks cool too. So that was, basically,
I
yeah.
mean, it does
I
look
hated
cool.
that jean skirt though, man. I hated it.
Oh,
No, I loved it.
you rocked it. You rocked
Thank you. Thank you.
it.
Also making all the actors dress up in like really, colorful prints and
Well, the
denim.
very best
Yeah.
thing was that Chaz had to wear a toupee in it because his hair is too modern. His haircut. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I died. Died. So good.
It was pretty great. Like
Yeah.
the fashion was good. That house was fantastic.
Mhm.
Where did you find that set?
Yeah, that's a real house in Simi Valley, California. I mean, it is a magical place. It really and it's great because it lends itself to being sort of timeless, and there were no TVs in the house, or so. And it was just the amount of detail in that house. This is a house that was basically hand built by the owner, and I mean, we were shooting the film and he was on the roof building. We had location scouted in the room we use as Alice's bedroom. It had a normal 8 foot high ceiling. When we went back to shoot, it was like 15 feet. He had raised so it was constantly in flux, and it felt like it had a life of its own. And it was
Kind of
exciting
did.
because no matter where you pointed the camera, it looked great. So yeah, it was.
And it was very dusty, which looks really good on camera. It's like we didn't need a hazer or anything. It just was dust, which is great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Uh, Now let's talk about the character of Mindy.
Mhm.
Um, how like how did you get into her head?
You know, it's funny. I've talked about this a lot with this character because like day one was the scenes with my mother and the scene like at the dinner table with or the lunch table with my daughter telling her there's a monster downstairs. And I was like, this is like a full trailer moment. I know this. I have to figure out who this character is day one and be in it and just live here. So I connected really deeply to the story. And, obviously I'm a mother, I have a young daughter. So that was like the first thing that really pulled me into it. But then also like the level of abuse, we've all been there, in one way or another. And I just think that it was something that I really wanted to do justice. So I just sort of let myself exist. I just let myself fall into the character and the whole time I just had people coming at me. I like my mother, I had CPS, I had a mother at a grocery store. It was like, and then on top of it, you're getting this extreme abuse from a monster downstairs that's like biting you. And he's really biting me. This is like really, it's a very invasive, you lose control over your own body, your own space. And I just really wanted to let myself feel all those emotions. And I think sort of the cool thing about Mindy is she's always trying to be strong and she has to be in order to survive this with this monster. And so I really loved like the nuances of just wanting to scream and cry and but always trying to hold it together. And she thinks she's holding it together so well, but she seems completely insane half the time because that's what it's really like. Um, and I think like the big message for me in this film is that you shouldn't judge somebody. You don't know what's going on at home behind closed doors and she was dealing with all of this and people were so terrible to her. And so it made it very easy to be emotional. And I think the other big thing was I figured out early on that I wasn't going to rehearse anything when it came to with the monster John. Like I was like, I don't want to run lines with him. I just want to be present in that experience and kind of experience it with him the first time. Where everyone else I would, I'd rehearse with, we'd run lines, and it really allowed for like this really visceral response to him. And your body immediately you get the fight or flight, and I want to get out. I want to leave this room, and I can't. And so you're forced to stay in a situation that you just don't want to be in. And we were talking about this earlier in another interview about how, you know, you're really going through this physically and also emotionally. And, you put yourself through all this trauma and this emotion and physical abuse. And like your body and your brain don't always understand the difference. Like, oh, I'm acting. It's not real because it feels real. And it was real at the time for me. So it was, yeah, it was weird. I went through a weird depression when the movie ended, and it took me a while to get out of it. And that's never really happened to me before. So, but it was
Well,
rewarding for sure.
yeah, I think that's a testament to the material. Spider, let's talk about the material. Let's talk about Agyar. Was there a conscious decision to have the mother character so closely resemble Agyar?
No, I mean it's kind of one of those. I mean, we're very good friends with Bonnie Aarons, who plays the mom, and we love Bonnie, and we always want to put her in as many movies as we can. And honestly, I didn't put it together. I didn't. It wasn't until later where people brought that up. They're like, "Wait a minute, this has got to mean something that they have a similar aesthetic." And I was like, "Wow, that." But sometimes, the great thing about making a movie or writing a song or writing a script is that I feel like they tend to do things for you without you sometimes realizing it. And so
Mhm.
now if you see that, you've now built in this other level of experience or maybe character experience for Mindy that she clearly doesn't have the greatest relationship with her mother. So is that really what Agar looks like? Maybe she's projecting that, like she's seeing or the other way around. So I think that's really exciting when things like that happen, whether there's a lot of things that you do in a movie that are intentional, the way you light something, a choice of a piece of wood or whatever, you make a lot of choices that people may never pick up on. But that one was certainly not intentional, but I feel like it does lend it to an extra layer of something for somebody if they feel that. Yeah.
Also, Bonnie just has the best face ever. I tell her this every day.
Yes.
I think she's just the most stunningly unique, beautiful creature. So yeah, I'm very happy that people find her aesthetic extra special. That's always what she loves. So,
So speaking of Agyar, tell me about the timing of Agyar's possession over Mindy, because the film opens with Alice having been sent away, as though he just appeared, but she's 10 at the time. So, I mean, was Mindy saddled with Agyar at Alice's birth? Has he been there the whole time? Like, what is his relationship to Mindy?
Sure. I mean, for me, we learn in the movie that Mindy's husband has died. We learned that through Agar revealing that. We learned that through there's a scene where Mindy's playing the piano. There's small things you have to really pay. It can't be on your phone when you watch the movie, but
yeah.
she's playing a song. She pulls out some sheet music. It's written by her husband. It's a picture of her daughter. So we're learning this idea that her husband has passed. And so at that point she is faced with, we don't show it, but we make the assumption they were a very happy family, the three of them, and they were very excited. He's writing songs about his daughter. So what a tragic event. Suddenly 1/3 of the family is now gone. And I think that pain and trauma was the crack in her life that allowed Agyar to enter. We don't specifically give a date that like 3 months ago, because who cares? I think it is just what happened. And her fear and anxiety of now being faced to be alone, to raise her daughter is what allowed this creature to manifest. So there is a reference that she had put Alice away at grandma's house for 3 weeks. But in my mind, I feel like Alice was probably home for a little while this was happening. and then Mindy determines that it is becoming too dangerous, too close. And then Alice has been away for about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Well, I think too when I reveal my bites, like there's all these different levels of healing, and so clearly it's been going on long enough for some of them to have healed, some of them to be scarring. So so I don't know. In my mind, it was closer to a year in my head, I guess, because of the way my body was healing.
I mean, that's the thing. I think that it's kind of fun to be, we talk about this a lot, and because Little Bites is a movie that intentionally, I feel like I want there to be many questions unanswered, because to me, those are my favorite movies. I don't want everything to be spoon fed and every backstory to be laid out clearly for you, because I feel like audiences feel like they want that. They express that they want that, but when they get that, they get very angry about it. So I like that there is this level of question as to why, how, when, where, because I feel like this is also a story. If you can relate to it, if you were Mindy, your story would be very different, and so I think it's kind of nice to have this to be sort of pliable, and to be determined through your own personal experience. Some people won't enter this movie at all relating to the parenthood aspect. If you don't have children, you can intellectualize it, but you may not. So you may enter it. I've had people enter this movie through abusive relationship, or they relate it to drug addiction. So we all have our trauma or life experiences that we can use to create our own Aguiar experience.
Yeah. I think we're almost out of time, so I just wanted to say congratulations on the film. Getting Barbara Crampton and Heather Langenkamp, like royalty, Chaz. And this is a high note for me because I've been a Power Man 5000 fan for years.
Thank you so much.
I got to see you this past June at Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey. And,
oh my God, you were at Dingbats.
Yeah,
that is legendary.
So
you survived, which is nice. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and you guys, best of luck with the film.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Nice
you.
to meet you.